Good afternoon. Thank you all for participating in the UC EAP virtual fair. Welcome to this session titled Studying Abroad During a Pandemic. I'm Julie Pollard, the Director of International Health Safety and Crisis Management for the University of California Education Abroad Program. This session will be recorded. If you have any objections to participating in a recorded session, please leave now. If you would like to enable subtitles, you can do so as this session is using AI-generated subtitles. What we will talk about in today's session will not be country or program specific, but rather introduce you to the many types of regulations, policies, and practices across the world. If you have a question you would like to ask anonymously, please message my co-host, Kate DeBlanc. She will hold all questions until the end, and we will not be reading out the name of the individual who asks the question. So let's get started. What does the future look like? Unfortunately, we do not have a crystal ball, and I can't tell you exactly what your time abroad may look like. What I can tell you are the many possible environments that might exist in the country you choose to study in at the time that you choose to study in it. What we see in most of the world right now is a mask mandate. It is common to require masks indoors, on public transportation, and when physical or social distancing is not possible. We see several countries moving to allow only fully vaccinated travelers to enter their respective borders. Even the US is moving in this direction with Biden's announcement that the US will only allow fully vaccinated travelers after November 8th. I anticipate many more countries moving in this direction. Upon entering an inside space, such as a shopping mall or a university, you might have your temperature checked and be denied entry if you have a fever. You may only be allowed to enter if you have the country's COVID mobile phone app and agree to their tracing and tracking policies. You may have to show your CDC white card, proving you are fully vaccinated. In a matter of a few months, we saw airlines and countries first drop the pre-flight COVID test requirement, only to bring it back. Rules for citizens of a country and guests in that country may continue to be different and subject to frequent changes. This is something to carefully watch if you are a student planning to travel outside of your host country borders during your program. When you arrive in a country, you may be required to complete a quarantine or restricted movement period. This could mean self-isolating in a hotel room for a period of time. Some are as short as 4 days, and some are as long as 21 days. Much of the world is still actively experiencing life in pandemic times. As we see more of the world's population become fully vaccinated, policies are shifting to a life with COVID approach. Only time will tell when the World Health Organization will move COVID from active pandemic to endemic categorization. What I can promise you is that your study abroad experience will look, feel, and be different from a pre-COVID study abroad experience. Our office monitors updates from the US Centers of Disease Control, the CDC, the World Health Organization, WHO, and various entities within the US State Department, including US embassies abroad and the Overseas Security Advisory Council. It is important to note that the CDC and State Department aligned their risk metrics, and it only monitors COVID positive case numbers across a 28-day period per 100,000 people. This risk metric does not take any other data into account. As a result of this change, UCEAP created a rigorous assessment process for each program. Aside from the US government authoritative bodies, UCEAP also examines a wide array of data, including percentage of population partially and fully vaccinated, capacities of medical systems, including treatment drugs, supplies, and ICU beds, to respond both to COVID and non-COVID medical emergencies. We are considering the capacity of resources on the ground and how that will impact our students and also the local populations. We maintain ongoing conversations with our partners abroad, our study center staff, other universities sending Americans abroad, and other organizations like UCEAP that operate programs. We work hard to collect information and assess data points in consultation with the University of California's security and healthcare providers, as well as system experts. We expect students to be active partners in the ongoing process of monitoring and managing COVID risks that one may experience while living in another country. This approach is captured in 2 documents that all participants must read and sign: the UCEAP Community Compact and Travel During a Pandemic Notice of Understanding. As countries change border entry and exit policies, leaving your host country may be more complicated than in pre-COVID times. Local regulations may limit the number of people allowed to access public spaces. Each of these would require further research on your part to understand what the current policy is and how you can ensure your compliance to these policies. UCEAP also recommends that you maintain enrollment in your home campus course for as long as possible, and that you understand the academic risks of studying abroad in this dynamic environment. The UC has a COVID vaccine policy, and as a program participant, you will be required to comply with this policy. A UC exception may not and probably will not be recognized in your host country. There are also several challenges that an unvaccinated individual may face abroad. You may be required to produce a negative COVID test on a regular basis, and any delays you experience in receiving results may impact your ability to participate in program activities. You may have a quarantine period or a longer quarantine period upon your arrival in country, and you may not be able to enter public spaces or public events. This is also the possibility that the country of your program may mandate a vaccine as an entry requirement prior to your arrival or during your program. Students should adapt your approach to preparing for your departure and anticipate potential challenges. For example, you may want to rethink that bon voyage party. If you are required to have a negative COVID test pre-flight, you should reduce your contact with others as much as possible in the weeks leading up to your departure. The implications of a negative test can be significant and financially and academically challenging for you. You may have a number of new documents that you have to fill out, sign, keep with you that did not exist before COVID, attesting to your vaccination status, your insurance coverage, or your agreement to the country laws. Your recent travel history could impact your ability to enter your program country. You may be subject to rules of your transit country if your flight has a layover. Certain countries and airlines have mandated a specific type of mask. When you purchase your airfare, it is important to consider all of these factors and read the fine print. And remember, everything is subject to change these days. It is best to check back often in the week and days leading up to your departure. You are also required to obtain a COVID test prior to your return to the United States. The logistical challenges of jet setting around to other countries are both health risks and academic risks if you get stuck outside of your program country. Host country governments may impose restrictions that might be far stricter than what you previously experienced. Curfews, capacity limitations in physical spaces, forced isolation, government mandated quarantines, and fines for non-compliance are all strategies countries have used to respond to COVID outbreaks. What fall 2021 students are reporting is a greater participation and engagement with local life in their program cities. They are far more familiar with the rules and regulations of these places and thus feel more confident navigating them. Program cities also have more support through study centers and partner universities. I've touched upon all these already throughout the presentation. It is important to keep them in front of mind. I understand students dream about a study abroad experience. I did so myself. In this COVID environment, societies are still adjusting to what daily life is like. And that may be quite different from what your dreams of study abroad are. And that's okay. I encourage you to be realistic in your expectations. Different does not have to mean negative. Throughout your program, the institution may shift approaches to teaching and learning based on case numbers, ongoing outbreaks, or new variants of concern. It is important to remain flexible and understand that these decisions are made with the health and safety of students, faculty, and staff as a priority. It is becoming more common that countries have a mandated application that shows your vaccine status and/or COVID test results on your smartphone. These apps may allow for tracking and tracing. Each country's rules and regulations may differ, but you should be prepared to use a smartphone in order to comply. This may require some pre-planning on your part with regards to what phone and phone plan you will use while you're abroad. Years ago, when I lived in India, I was told a story about bamboo. On dry land, bamboo is brittle and easily breaks with the slightest of pressures. Oftentimes, travelers approach the world being too inflexible, and they easily succumb to the stresses of being in a new place with new people. And they break as easily as that bamboo on dry land. Bamboo in water, however, is flexible. It bends. It can adapt to pressure, sometimes beautifully. As you prepare for study abroad in a pandemic, do not forget to pack flexibility, resilience, adaptability, and patience. These things allow you to be bamboo in water. I will not lie to you, this process will be a lot of work, and you will more than likely feel confused and frustrated at some point in time. What I would like for you to remember is this: you are UC students. You are smart, capable human beings, and with focused preparation, patience, and perseverance, you will succeed. And if you have any bumps in the road along the way, UC EAP is here to support and advise you to the best of our ability. So go forth into the world, safely, of course, and be bamboo in water. Next steps. We recommend that you first explore the UC EAP website. You can visit your campus study abroad office website as well, or the How to Apply section on any of the program pages on the UC EAP website. You can drop into our office hours, use your smartphone to capture the QR code on the screen right now. You can also start an application by selecting the Apply Now button on the UC EAP website. And of course, we remain available via email for any questions that you might have. At this point, I am going to end the recording and we'll move on to